Hello, friends. So I don't know what the words are yet that'll come, but I know what the topic is. Sitting in my meditation this morning, I'm just marveling at the journey. A journey of devotion, dedication, commitment, practice, study. This journey of awakening, just to call it exactly what it is, the awakening of truth to itself within this human experience that is dominated by an egoic identity. The awakening of our absolute, divine, boundless consciousness, that truth of ourselves, that we are that. Currently moving through an individuated soul expression, inhabiting a vehicle of mind, body, and ego. To awaken as the oneness. Which is peace, which is stillness, which is love, which is grace. The oneness that can truly is always in a state of allowing and loving. That journey, it absolutely requires dedication, devotion, study, patience, commitment, dedication. And we're not used to that. Because we can, get by, if you will, without it. But to truly know ourselves, truly, fully, wholly, embodied, it requires those things. And one of the analogies that I use in this practice is of mountain climbing. If you want to truly summit, to arrive, if you will, at the summit of a mountain, you don't just wing it. You just don't. You can't. Most of us are living being fully directed by the egoic identity that only has allegiance to itself, that only has allegiance to its own construct, to its own story. We're used to being driven by that, its desires, its needs, its goals, its way of perceiving the world. And it doesn't want to work that hard. I mean, for what? It doesn't even know the goal. It doesn't even have a sense of what's possible. So it's like, why? It gives up so easily in this path of devotion. So it's helpful to be clear what we really want. I'll get back to the analogy in a moment. What do you want? Do you want to be liberated from your own egoic construct so that it isn't running the show? So this thing that isn't even really a thing, it's just a activity of mind, a complex construct of ideas, thoughts, beliefs, conditioning, programming, trauma, stories, that to be liberated from that directive, if you will, and to be embodied as and living as the true oneness of love that you are. if you want that, you can't wing it. The analogy of climbing the mountain is, most people, if you kind of look at this sense of mountain as our lives, and trying, in if we want that in this incarnation, to know true self, most people are just wandering around the mountain. Hunting, pecking, trying, maybe we'll see, getting lost, getting distracted, just not in a devotional, purposeful, attentive journey, knowing what the goal is, staying on it, and then learning the tools. You cannot climb that mountain without learning all the tools that it'll take to undertake such a journey. How to use crampons, how to use ice axes, how to tie knots, how to utilize your oxygen tanks, how to set up a tent, how to live at high altitude when the atmosphere is thin, what to do when a storm comes in, how to even see a storm coming, the ability to study and become an expert at snow conditions so you know when avalanche conditions are heightened and when they are not, when it's safe to climb and when it's best to hunker down and be still. You cannot climb this mountain without deep study and knowledge and wisdom and mastery. So I encourage you to study, to avail yourself to a study of the content that's available here in the Oasis. There's a lot of really valuable content, and most people within this membership have not yet followed the guidance, the instruction, the invitation to start to listen to the core fundamental lessons videos that speak to this whole journey. And then we end up in these conversations about the journey, and they're conversations that aren't based on a foundational understanding. I encourage you, let's start to really recognize the base understanding of what we're talking about here. What is awakening? What gets in the way of ourselves knowing that divine truth? So that when we're having these conversations, we all are kind of in the same study. It would be like going to a math class and having a conversation with the instructor and saying, hey, I'm still confused about this whole trigonometry thing. And the instructor would say, well, have you read the book? No, I just figured we'd have this conversation. The conversations are to support the study. I invite you to attend, to join us in satsang. Satsang, sat is truth. Song is together, to sit in and explore truth together as a community, to ask our questions, to learn the nuance of meditations and how to awaken, come into a knowing embodiment of our wholeness, our truth, our divinity. And then how we get lost, to understand how we get lost and how to get back, and so much more. I invite you to please attend satsang and study the 10 foundations of peace and freedom that I've offered into this community. It speaks to all of this. We can't just wing it. We just can't. If you want your true freedom, your stable, rested, deep peace, so that you can play in this world and dance in this world and explore and be fully expressed, free, and at peace, to access your authentic joy and happiness. It requires study and patience and discipline and devotion and commitment and community and staying in the conversations. So I invite you to all of that. It's what saved my ass. And I just know at this point, from my own experience, the clients and students that I work with, my teachers, it's just the way it works. You can't arrive without the journey. And we're just arriving to what we already are, which is part of the conversation. That's what it takes. So please avail yourselves to the study and the practice and the devotion and coming back into the conversations again and again and again. All right, my friends, much love. Blessings.